You're watching KITV Morning News.
Breaking news out of North Austin involving the overnight shooting of an Austin police officer. We have a live update from the scene.
Some traffic relief for drivers in Williamson County. A new extension of the 183A toll road opens today, just in time for Easter weekend.
A downtown Austin landmark needs our help, so what do we do first? We'll talk about the two schools of thought in our very first Friday with Uncle Fred.
Of course, we begin this morning with the breaking news out of North Austin that an Austin police officer has been shot.
We're told it happened at the Walmart on I-35 and Palmer Lane just before 3 this morning. And that's where we find KITV's Adam Bennett. He's been out on the scene and he brings us the very latest on an active investigation where he's awaiting speaking to Chief Acevedo. Adam?
Hey, good morning, Milika. Yeah, Chief Acevedo is walking up to us right now. He's expected to give us a briefing on just exactly what happened this morning. All we've had confirmed so far is that one on-duty officer was shot. They will not say so far whether or not it was fatal. We also know that one person is in custody, and we'll step aside and let you hear from the chief himself.
Good morning, Chief.
Good morning.
Good morning, Chief.
Well, good morning. It's with a heavy heart that I have to report that we've lost a police officer this morning. And I'm going to go provide you with an overview of what occurred and a timeline. And then we'll open up any questions. And then I'm going to have our boss, City Manager Mark Ott, say a couple of comments. This morning at about 02:20 hours, the Austin Police Department received a call of a person, a male that was intoxicated, wandering around the Walmart store located up here off of I-35 and Palmer Lane. At 2:21 a.m., officers were dispatched. At 2:29 a.m., the first officer arrived on scene. When the officer went inside of the store, he made contact with the male suspect, who immediately engaged the officer in a fight. During the fight, the suspect produced a semi-automatic pistol, shot the officer at point blank, striking him somewhere around the neck area. The officer was able to broadcast that he had been shot, was able to actually put out a broadcast. Upon the arrival of another officer, he was able to take the suspect into custody and begin administering CPR. Despite the valiant efforts of our officers that started CPR and EMS, Director Rodriguez is here, the officer succumbed to his injury and was pronounced at the scene at 2:44 a.m. We have notified the officer's family. The officer has been with the Austin Police Department for a little over 3 years. Prior to being employed as a member of the Austin Police Department, he worked for the airport police as part of the Public Safety and Emergency Management Department that consolidated with us back in 2009. And prior to that, he worked for the San Angelo Police Department. The officer leaves behind his parents and two young daughters, ages 10 and 6, and their mother, who live here locally. The city manager and I have made notification to the mother and the children. As can be expected, they are extremely distraught. We will not release his name at this time because he has other extended family, including parents, that we have not confirmed if notification has been made by the local police department. I personally want to thank some of the employees at Walmart that we will identify when the time is appropriate. But even in this tragedy, I'm heartened by the fact that two brave souls immediately started taking action when they saw our officer shot unprovoked by this suspect and actually tackled the suspect to the ground before he was able to hurt somebody else. I'm also very thankful to EMS and to our responding officers for their efforts at trying to save our officer. It's a tragedy on Good Friday to lose an officer like this, but it's part of what these men and women do. They know when they become police officers that this is ultimately the sacrifice they're willing to make. And I want to really thank especially our boss, Mark Ott, who's always at these incidents, and Mike McDonald, the deputy city manager, Dr. Hinsey from EMS, director who's always here, and obviously Sheriff Hamilton is back here in order to make her. We've come together as a family. It'll be tough for the next few days, but as I told and we told our officers' family, they are not alone. The Austin Police Department, our first response community, and most importantly, our city and our community will stand with this family, and we'll make sure that those two little girls that just lost their father tonight, through no fault of his own, that they are raised the way they need to be raised, and their needs are met. Lastly, I will say that the suspect is in custody, and he's being transported out of the scene. With that, I want to let City Manager Mark Ott say a couple of comments, and then we will open it up to any questions.
Well, I think Chief Acevedo has covered the circumstances surrounding the loss of our officer. It's a sad day. I mean, what can I tell you? We've lost a member of our family. I think our sentiments are correct. At times like this, it's important to close the ranks and look out for each other, and that's what we're doing, both in terms of the police department.
I don't believe for a minute this has anything to do with the officer-involved shooting last night.
Chief, these Walmart employees who tackled this individual, you mentioned them just a few moments ago. Describe that scene for us, and what did they tell you that they did?
Well, preliminarily what I have is that after they saw the altercation, the officer shot and the officer go down, they immediately tackled him, took him to the ground, and he was disarmed. The officer was able to put out a broadcast that he had been shot. We had a responding officer that was his backup officer already en route. Man, this is a routine call. I mean, what makes our jobs deadly is that there's no such thing as routine, and at any moment you can go from being stopped at a red light to being engaged in a fight for your life. And so I can tell you that when he responded and he arrived, they already had the suspect on his back, and they were able to point him out, and he was able to take him into custody, recover their firearm, and thankfully nobody else got hurt.
Chief, we saw this.
The question was, how old was the officer?
You know, I'm sorry, I don't have his age.
Chief, we heard from shoppers in the store that they did go into lockdown. Can you kind of describe for us what the store did at the point when all of this was going on with the rest of the employees, the shoppers who were in there?
Well, they did go into lockdown, and I tell you that Walmart did an outstanding job, not only of responding, I think intuitively, instinctively, but they called 911 immediately. They provided us information immediately, and I think it speaks to the training that obviously this corporation provides their employees, because they responded appropriately. I would just say this about our officer. I know the vast majority of our employees, most of us do. He was an outstanding cop, and it always seems that we're not perfect, but it seems that when we lose an officer, it's always the best of the best, because they're the ones that when the call comes out, they don't hesitate. They don't hesitate to get there, and so I can tell you that from my experiences with him, we've lost a really good, solid human being today, and it's a loss for the city. Imagine 2 officer-involved shootings in one night. Our city's changing, and we just have to understand that we have to be cautious, and we have to be aware that as we continue to grow, we're going to have challenges.
What kind of charges could he be facing?
Well, we'll see, but as far as I'm concerned, he needs to go for murder.
Did the officer get a chance to return fire at all?
The officer never had an opportunity to take his holster his weapon.
Do you think any of this is caught on video within the store?
I'm confident that we will have very dramatic video of this confrontation.
What about dash camera or the?
It was inside the store.
But with the microphone, the officer.
I'm sure we'll have audio.
What happens with the investigation from this point forward?
The investigation from this point forward, homicide detectives, in conjunction with this, the Special Investigations Unit, the District Attorney's Office, and the medical examiners will all work together to put together a case to present to the grand jury in this community, and hopefully to a jury that will hold this person accountable for taking the life of an officer who was simply trying to do his job and keeping this community safe.
Chief, did customers feel threatened and that's why they called 911? What did
It was not customers. We got calls from some of the employees, and if there were additional calls, I can't tell you right now because the investigation is since in early stages.
And the officer was on the force for 3 years?
He was with us for a little over 3 years. Prior to that, he worked for the Public Safety and Emergency Management as an airport police officer, and prior to that, he worked for the St. Angelo Police Department. As soon as we know that we've confirmed that his parents and his brothers and sisters have been notified, we will release his name sometime this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chief, thank you.
All right, so just
So we just heard from Chief Acevedo of APD, one on-duty officer, confirmed shot and killed inside this Walmart at I-35 and Palmer early this morning. So obviously a very tough day for a lot of officers and a lot of people and that man's family as well. We'll throw it back to you guys in the studio for now.
Thank you, Adam. A very emotional Chief Acevedo there. Our thoughts are with him and the family and all the Austin police officers.